Hello everyone, and welcome to a new kind of video that I'll be trying to do, which is me building stuff on Planet Coaster and filming it and doing commentary on it so people can see what I'm actually doing and stuff. I thought it would be a fun idea. So for this first video I wanted to do a RIDESKIN for Halloween, so I'm perfectly in time with this video of course. But the premise of this RIDESKIN is that I wanted to do a spinning ride with a castle alongside it. And yeah, a bit of a graveyard around it. So what you see me doing here is making the main shape of the castle, which is two big towers as you can see here. Also putting on some roofs, and then I'm making sure that the rest of the castle also gets built up a little bit. Okay, here I was thinking about what I should add to the wall because it's very bland, and first I wanted to do it rubbish, but that was way too oversized. So instead I went with the doorway and some windows, as you can see in a bit. And I also went ahead and put some windows on the towers because they were also a bit bland, and you also see me adding windows to the other side of the castle in a bit, because windows always add a lot. Next I wanted to top off the upper part of the castle with some parapets, or however you pronounce them. So it's not just a wall, it stops being a wall basically, and it actually looks like a decent castle. And on top of the parapet I'm also adding some balustrades to make it look a little bit more polished than it was before. I thought it looked alright, I guess. Also tried to carry it on around the towers, but the octagonal pieces were too small to fit around them, so that's too bad. Then I also went ahead and put some window extensions on the wall because it was still a little bit bland. And then, as you can see here is that I'm looking for some lights to add, and in the end I went with candles because it's a bit of sour lighting and gives that creepy atmosphere basically. Just adding them all around the castle basically. Yeah, with these lights out of the way, you can see me start making the queues to have an idea where I should put the rest of the scenery, the graveyard and stuff, so it won't be overlapping the queue basically. Well, it's not a massive queue because it's not a massive ride obviously, but it's something. And now I'm starting to work on the graveyard bit, so first I'm adding some dead shrubbery around. All around the queue some dead shrubbery basically. Which I'm going to follow up with some trees and fencing and stuff. after putting up these trees, I'm also putting some lighting around the ride itself, because it won't be entirely dark then. And I went with Christmas candles, but instead I made them all black to make them look a bit creepy. And then I went ahead and also add a lot of floating candles to the mix as well, to give it a bit of an enchanted feeling basically. And for atmosphere I also added like a bunch of clouds and rain. Too bad, because of how the clouds work, if you zoom in really far you can still see the cloudy metals in the sky, but if you like from this angle you can't see a thing. Yeah, also added some rain for atmosphere and some colored fog for the queue. Give it a bit of a creepy vibe basically. And after that I'm starting to do the fence I mentioned earlier. So I went with the big graveyard gate from the spooky pack, and then I tried to find a suitable fence piece to put all around the ride. And in the end I went with the crypt fence, which is an old rusty iron fence, which I really liked in this kind of setting. And now with all the fences out of the way, I also started adding some graves to put around. At first I wanted to cluster 5 graves together, as you see here, and like make an extra little bit of a graveyard, but I already noticed that the queue and stuff was a little bit too small to add these many graves at once. So I just put them in one by one all around, sprinkled them around, and yeah, I thought it looked okay with what I came up with here. Also adding some crows on top of the gate to give a little bit creepy atmosphere. I wanted to make sure I didn't add too many of the same type, because that would get really boring really quick. And then I'm also adding some jack-o'-lanterns around, because yeah, it's Halloween, so why not? And they also have a very little bit of subtle lighting, which adds a lot to the atmosphere if you put it in dark mode. Right here. Also putting some fencing around the ride itself. I went with another type of crypt fence, this time it's a wooden one. And after adding these fences, I also wanted to add some, how do I call it again, these pumpkin lights, but a whole chain of them basically. These ones, but they were too small to fit between all of the candles, so I decided to not go with them instead. And what you can see is me adding some more windows to the back of the castle, because it looks really bland. I mean, you're not really meant to see the back of the castle, but it's nice to have something there anyway. And yeah, now I'm making a sign for the ride. It's gonna be called Hocus Pocus, and I'm using the wooden Haunted House wooden beam pieces to make the ladders. In hindsight, I could have very easily copied and pasted a lot of these letters because there's a lot of repetition in the name. But oh well. Okay, so first I wanted to attach the sign to the towers, but it was a little bit too big, so it would look unrealistic. Have some letters floating in the air. Says the person that makes floating candles, but oh well. Okay, and yeah, I'm also changing up the color to make it look a little bit more ominous, a little bit more red. And in addition to that red color, I'm also adding some red floodlights. To make it pop a little bit more. And as a finishing touch, I'm also adding some lightning strikes. At first I wanted to like place them in such a way that you would have one giant lightning chain going from the towers all the way to the bottom, but that was a little bit more complicated for what I can do. So in the end I just put down some random ones for atmosphere, and that's it. Now I'm also changing up the delays of all of the lightning strikes, because if you load the park again, they will all be going off at the same time, which kills the atmosphere entirely in my opinion. Yeah, I put a lot of them in the floor and I didn't remember where they were, so I had to do some digging to find them basically. Even went into the floor at some point to find them, but in the end I got them all, so that works. So, as finishing touch, changing up the colors of the ride. Yeah, and that's the ride completely done. So I'm gonna leave you with the cinematics now. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and comment. It means a lot to me. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.